Good evening, Fernwood. It's your TV pal Neil, and it's time for some more late night variety madness with another episode of Fernwood Tonight. If you're just seeing my face for the first time, this is a reaction show where we watch the show together and then we talk about it because, I think you've got some things to share. And if that sounds like it's your bag, then please stick around. Also, if you're a viewer who has the gumption to help support the channel and help the channel grow, then please check out Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes, monthly updates, and uncut episodes when we start doing the cut episodes in a few weeks. Hey, today we're watching episode 52 from September 13th, 1977. Yesterday we had some things to look at, which we're going to do right now. Barth Gimble announced that his birthday was coming up very soon, either 11 days from now or a fortnight plus one, which are not the same number, but he definitely wanted everyone to know the numbers that were his clothing sizes. We then bring back Tony Rolletti, who is there to introduce his nephew Chance Rolletti, who comes on for a rocket to stardom singing Ain't She Sweet. Tony announces that Chance has a part in an upcoming TV series. And then we bring on William W.D. Bud Price, who explains that Dinah Shore is the reason that he's getting Chinadonti in the first place. He never misses a show. He also expresses that everyone can be an artist by teaching people how to draw a stick figure, and then he shares his developments towards making the Gerald Ford Museum, which includes a pair of shoes that are the exact same size as the former president's, so that everyone can see what it might be like to walk a mile in his shoes. And that's where the episode ends, everyone. So let's get this Tuesday going.
Tonight from Fernwood, Fernwood Tonight, 30 minutes of very remarkable entertainment, coming to you almost live with your host for tonight, Mr. Barth Gimble. Tonight, Barth's guest will be Congressman William Chambers, who claims the country is leaking badly, and Lucy Campbell, to explain why falling in love can be almost as dangerous as falling in the bathtub. And Happy Kind and the Mirth Makers. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard, and now your host and mine, Mr. Barth Gimble.
Thank you. It came up so suddenly, I didn't know what was going on. I was trying to see if gum burns. It doesn't. So, kind of interesting. Good evening, and welcome again to Fernwood Tonight. I am Barth Gimble. Thank you. You know, wouldn't vacations be great if you didn't have to spend a whole trip completely surrounded by strangers? I mean, wouldn't travel be more exciting if you could do it along with some friendly faces from the old hometown? Well, obviously, I wouldn't be wasting valuable time up here asking you these questions if I didn't already know the answers, okay? The answers are, of course, yes and yes. And those two words are the whole idea behind Fernwood Tonight Tours. Thanks to Dana Earl Suggs down at Vagabond Travel, where their motto, incidentally, is no personal checks, please. Thanks to them, we're now able to offer you the vacation of a lifetime. How does this sound? A round trip via cross-country bus lines to anywhere in the continental U.S. with lavish one-week accommodations at any Sleepy Time Inn, where their reputation is in their beds. And you will be accompanied by the entire Fernwood Tonight gang. Huh? Pretty interesting. Happy and I up front in the first class section of the bus, and oh, Jerry Hubbard, here he is.
To me, hey, I'm excited about this. Great.
Can I say, Happy and I will be up in first class, and for those of you who like to save money and travel coach, you know where you'll find Jerry, right in the back there.
You know, I like to sit near the back of the bus there. Usually that's where you're going to have a restroom on this one.
Sure.
I hope so. Let's keep our fingers crossed. It might be a long trip. But we like to sit, I go with my friend Marty Martinson, and we'll sit back by the, can I say John? And,
already said Marty, that's another name.
Anyway, we'll sit there, and when someone comes down the aisle to go into the you-know-what, he'll say, don't fall in, not even moving his lips, laughs like that so they don't know where the devil it came from. And when they come out, I'll say, everything come out all right? And they'll look around trying to figure out who said it. We sit there like we don't know a thing, you know. Or sometimes I'll go to the person in front of me.
How on earth do you manage to act like you don't know a thing?
Oh, I don't know. You know, we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, I should imagine. Anyway, here's the best part about this tour. You choose the destination. You decide where the Fernwood Tonight tour goes.
Hey, what could be fair?
Great. Yep, you want to go to Alaska? We'll put that on ice. Well, we'll leave our hearts.
The Alamo?
We'll forget it.
I could go on with
No, we'll remember the Alamo. When you send in your $50 reservation, just tell us where you want to go. And wherever gets the most votes, that's where the luxurious bus liner will be headed. Now, just in case your heart is really set on a particular place, that could happen, and you're tempted to maybe stuff that ballot box by sending in several reservations, each, of course, accompanied by that non-refundable $50 deposit. Well, that's okay, too. But you better hurry, because Happy and I are already packing our bags, right, Hap? And Jerry's looking for his, right?
That's right. So remember, rush that $50 to Bus Ride with Barth, Fernwood Tonight. Post Office Box 78924, Fernwood, Ohio, 45989. And remember, Dr. Pepper is the unofficial drink of the Fernwood Bus Tour.
Okay, that's great. And there'll be plenty of that on board,
Let's hope so. Enough to keep those people running back to the old utilities there. You know
You love sitting back there, don't you?
Ooh, yes, yes. Right, I'm tail gunner back there.
Oh, the tail gunner? That's great. Well, right now we'd like to bring on a guest. I'd like to bring our own Happy Kine over here, actually. Tell us about something that's kind of exciting and possibly profitable, at least for him, if not for us. Happy, come on over. Happy. Happy, you look almost as good as you sound, if that's possible. That's great.
Well, if there's a rosy glow exuding from me, it's just because I'm so excited. You know, just this week, me and the Mirth Makers have cut our first record album. Beautiful album, yes, and it's called Music in the Key of Mirth.
Oh, here it is right here.
Yeah, this is it.
See that? Are we getting that? Oh, that's great, yeah. Oh, Happy, from here I noticed that there's an album cover, all right, but there's no album. Where's the record, Happy?
Well, the problem is this, that we can't find anybody or any place in Fernwood that can press a record, you see. We've got plenty of vinyl because last weekend the Mirth Makers and me, we went out and tore up all the vinyl tile in our kitchen and the bathroom, so we got plenty of vinyl. But so far all we've got is the tape that we recorded at Channel 6 here, and 1,000 record albums.
Well, at that rate, Happy, it seems like all the folks are really going to get for their $5.98 is sort of a placemat with a rather unappetizing-looking picture of you on it here.
No, I'm sorry. If you would look inside here, you will see.
Oh, there is something.
Yes. With each record, we're going to give a certificate like this, you see. With each record, they get a certificate for a Jumbo Runner Bunner burger, down at the Bun and Run, and also...
Oh, don't lose that. That's worth the burger,
right. I guess. You can get one of that. And we have a certificate here for the cleaning of one tooth of your choice at my dental practice. Free. It's no charge at all.
I think that's going to be a great deal for a beaver, wouldn't it?
Mr. President, Mr. President, can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to do?
Whoa, right on the money, Happy. That's great. My next guest visits us whenever he's back home in his constituency. I guess that whole business there is forgotten pretty much, that thing about the absentee ballots.
Let's hope so, yes.
Yeah.
Let
Certainly comfortable enough to come back and visit us, so he couldn't be too ashamed. He's probably one of our most resourceful congressmen, and tonight he has some news about yet another insidious conspiracy. Please welcome Congressman William Chambers. Well, welcome once again. Congressman, why don't you tell us about this new conspiracy? What's it all about?
Well, what it's about, Barth, is about the most basic element to mankind, about the most basic need to man. What I'm talking about is water. I mean, the world faces an ever-increasing water shortage. And while most nations are claiming that they're Their water supplies are disappearing. Many nations are actually increasing their water supplies.
No kidding.
Nations like the Soviet Union, Finland, Norway, oh yes, and even Canada. Yes, these are the mostly ice-bound nations. They're laden with streams and lakes, and especially glaciers. They are water-rich. And I have found out that these countries have banded together to form an organization called WOPEC. Water Owners Potesny Espionatsi Countries.
Excuse me, I have to play the ignoramus here. What does potesti, whatever that was, what do those two words mean?
Well, I don't really know. The Russians like to get a couple of their words in there, you know. But this is an international conspiracy of countries trying to capitalize on this water problem.
I bet I know how Canada is doing it. Hockey. Hockey. Just think about it. Where are all the professional hockey players from? Canada. But where are all the professional hockey leagues? Right here in the USA. And also the hockey rinks. Night after night, in cities all over the United States, for 9 months of the year, they're filling up these hockey rinks, flooding them with water, freezing them. The hockey players come down, skate on them, ruin the water. Then what do? They melt the water, drain it out, refill it night after night. It's just an everlasting conspiracy by the Canadians to drain our dwindling supply of water.
Jerry, why don't you figure out which tooth you want cleaned while I talk to you? Congressman Chambers, what is really...
Also, now wait a second. The Mexicans, I bet they're in on it too. You know why? There's a shortage of water in Southern California, but no shortage of Mexicans. These illegal infiltrate into our part of the country, and they work on the farms and as gardeners and in the fields. What do they do there? They water, they sprinkle, they have in charge of the hoses. Don't they? Also, Mexicans, due to the extra hot and spicy diet they consume, 4 to 5 times, and I'm quoting generally, 4 to 5 times the amount of water that the United States of America people have to drink. And also, who are the people behind most of the Mexican restaurants? They are, again, the Mexicans, trying to spread this Mexican food, keeping us forever on the run in our search for new... All right, you're going to say, okay, so they don't waste water in showers, you know, but I'm saying there's also...
Yeah, Jerry, and I expect you probably think they buy those old beat-up 57 Chevys just so they'll overheat and they can fill up their radiators. Is that right, Jerry?
No, that's a little far-fetched.
Bear with us, Congressman. What you're saying is that once the rest of the world runs out of water, which is inevitable, I guess, by what you're saying, all these WOPEC nations are going to start gathering their icebergs, melting them down, and exporting the water around the world at high cost.
Oh yes, definitely. Pretty soon you're going to see water shipped in super tankers around the world.
Whoa, that's going to be a problem, too. If one of these ships or tankers runs aground, you're going to have a huge water spill. All that fresh water going to the ocean, polluting it, killing our fish, washing up on the beaches. You could save these up till you have enough to clean all your teeth.
Yeah, he used to play hockey. Goalie, no helmet.
My constituents are watching this program to gather up how important this situation is.
They maybe were. Jerry, you're not going to be running for office, are you? No, that's not true. Well, that's good. It seems to me that this business of the icebergs, even though there's only 1/10 of it we know about now, you're saying they're going to be chipping the stuff up. That's I've heard of sending out for ice, but this is ridiculous.
Well, I'm afraid, Bart, that the profiteering in this water situation is already going on, already started. We have reason to believe that the WOPEC nations are towing icebergs to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's that's sort of out there. I mean, that's certainly going farther than your liquor store price, isn't it?
Water is power, and it won't be a matter of time before the world is taken over by one race.
Right, and we all know who that race is?
The Eskimos.
The Arabs are going to look like hikers compared to those Eskimos. Can you picture them standing around in our gambling casinos with those fur hats and rubbing noses with each other, spending our money and rubbing our noses in it, and buying their way into their big corporations? Can you picture them running into Saks to buy parkas and into Tiffany's to buy these harpoons? We'll be squirming with our parched lips at the negotiating table. Imagine someday these lips will be swollen and parched shut.
Well, thank you very much, Congressman, for sharing these wonderful insights with us. Congressman Chambers is always good for this kind of thing. She's trying to show us the rational side of some rather startling news.
And I hope you don't get discouraged and decide to wash your hands of it.
We'll be right back. He's new. Thank you. We're back here with Congressman Chambers, and sorry we didn't have enough time to really talk about what...
So am I.
I know how you feel. Those of you who read last Friday's edition of the Fernwood Inquiring Gazette, or the FIG as we call it, you're probably familiar with the tender and moving love story of Fernwood's own Ed and Lucy Campbell. Well, we looked for them everywhere. We found them. We have them here tonight. Let's bring them out here so they can all tell you about their story. You may remember Congressman Chairman?
How do you do?
Chambers, rather. The little lever you pulled last November? That's him. Well, you certainly seem like a pretty lovey-dovey couple here.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell your folks, tell all these folks here the fascinating love story of yours?
You want to tell?
Go ahead, sugar.
Okay, hon. Well, 15 years ago, we were going steady, and Ed kept asking me to marry him over and over again.
Got down on my knees the whole bit.
Oh, boy.
But I just wasn't sure, so I kept saying no.
Then one time I saw her with this guy downtown, and I thought, hey, she's playing around with another guy.
Uh-oh.
Turned out to be my cousin.
Yeah, but I wasn't aware of that at the time, so I got real jealous and mad.
What'd you do?
I ran her over with my tow truck.
So run her over first, then ask questions, huh?
Yeah, well, in prison I had a chance to think about what I'd done. So for the next 10 years, I sent her letter after letter after letter begging forgiveness.
Then I kept tearing him up.
Amazing. So to cut what seems like it's going to be a rather lengthy story short, Ed, you finally got paroled, set free, and you tried to rekindle this relationship. Is that right?
Yeah, well, he called and wanted to meet me, and I was pretty scared.
Sure.
But then we met for coffee, and suddenly it hit me.
Another truck?
No, I just figured that here was a man who was really in love with me.
Oh.
I mean, he'd rather see me dead than with another man. I said, Lucy, he's for you.
I promised I'd love her for the rest of my life to make up for what I did.
That's wonderful.
She needed a whole lot more than the insurance money she got. She needed somebody to take care of her.
Well, you need a man. You're the man. How much did she actually get from the insurance money?
$500,000. But when you get right down to it, when you think about it, $500,000 is nothing without love. So we got married, and Ed surprised me with a honeymoon.
Yeah, I rented a whole week at a honeymoon suite in Niagara Falls.
Fortunately, we weren't able to stay the whole week.
How come? Why not?
Well, we were taking a stroll over the falls, and I stopped to look over the rail. And the rail gave way, and I fell right over the edge.
It was horrible.
Niagara Falls is beautiful this time of year.
Luckily, I was able to grab hold of a branch while Ed disappeared to get help.
So it's more like Lucy Falls than Niagara Falls. It is beautiful this time of year. You think at Niagara Falls they'd make those rails a little stronger, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but after a passerby rescued me, we discovered that someone had sawed through the railing.
Probably some prankster.
Yeah.
Well, Lucy survived it, so I didn't get any insurance money, but we sued the city of Niagara Falls for a pretty penny. Lucy was so shook up, we decided to just come back to Ohio and live on our new ranch.
Well, that's great. So although your honeymoon was cut short, you did have each other and a big new dream house. That's fabulous.
Right. Except we had to move after a while.
Why? Why was that?
Well, the ranch house burnt to the ground, Bart.
You guys have all the luck, don't you?
Well, Eddie was out of town, and I was home all alone, when suddenly there was this huge explosion right in the middle of the bedroom. By some fluke of fate, I just had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and I barely got out of here.
Yeah, she got away with burns on only 30% of her body. Fortunately, that 30% was insured.
I'm still trying to figure out why a fluke would make you go to the bathroom. You say it was like just some fluke you went to the bathroom. Of course. Well, exactly what did happen?
It was a faulty gas line.
Yeah, somehow a trace of sulfuric acid got into the gas line.
Probably another prankster.
Yeah. Or maybe one of those. Could have been one of those freak sulfuric acid accidents you hear about all the time. They're always happening.
That's what Ed said.
Sure he did.
And he knows about them. He does. He knows about those things puttering around the house all the time.
Real handyman, huh, Ed?
Actually, I'm pretty much all thumbs.
Really?
You know, there's this redness in my eyes.
Yeah.
Well, Ed was doing some plumbing. We had a stopped-up sink or something, and there I was, like a dope, standing right behind him, and the next thing I know, I get a face full of liquid plumber.
Some prankster. Well, I guess it could happen to anybody, though, when you think about it.
Honestly, with the bad luck I've been having, I don't know how this man puts up with me. I feel so guilty about being such a burden.
Well, I don't think you will be for long. I haven't. What is next for you two lovebirds? I mean, after your eye heals there.
Oh, Ed's taken me on another honeymoon since the first one didn't work out so good.
Yeah, we're going up to the state of Washington to do a little mountain climbing. Just Lucy and me.
Yeah, I figured. Ed, good idea. I guess as for you, Lucy, I would make sure I check out those ropes they have up there.
Ropes?
Make sure. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll take care of that.
Yeah, I bet you will. Did you people drive down here tonight?
Oh, well, yeah, he did.
Oh, boy. Okay. We'll be right back after this word. Got time to say goodnight to my guests. Well, we have a little more time than that. In fact, if any of you would like to say goodnight to one person out there that you're thinking of tonight. Congressman Chairman, you want to say goodbye to someone?
Yes. Good night, Jimmy Carter.
I'd like to say goodnight to Happy Kine, our wonderful band leader, and goodnight to all of you. That's it. So long.
Also appearing on tonight's show with Craig Jackson as Congressman William Chambers, Bob McClurg as Ed Campbell, and Anna Matthias as Lucy Campbell.
This one brought up a strong urge to... We start with Barth offering a bus trip to any place as long as you put in your $50 for a vote in the right direction. and you get to go with the Fernwood Tonight crew. I'm sure that trip was pretty amazing. Hopefully it happened at some point. Then we bring out Happy Kind, who has finally cut an album, but apparently they cut the album by tearing up a bunch of vinyl in their homes. But there's no one in Fernwood who can press a record. I guess 8 tracks weren't really what they were looking for, and cassette tapes were a little bit around the corner. Then we bring out Congressman William Chambers, who mentions that the water-bearing countries of the world are banding together to become WOPEC, which is clearly a map. In comedy, we talk about mapping, which means that we take one idea and transpose it with another. That's the simplest explanation I can give you. So OPEC was a big concern in the 1970s because the oil-bearing countries of the world were starting to organize. I don't know much more about OPEC than that because, I was a youngin'. But it was a big concern that folks were talking about in the news and on TV. Here, the discussion of WOPEC doesn't give Congressman Chambers a lot to talk about because it becomes Jerry driving the stupidity, right? And he says a lot of really awful things about Mexicans and about, the Canada stuff. It's sort of silly that it gets to hockey and how they're wasting water. But then he brings it down to Mexico, and I can only say that in this case, Barth Gimbel is very clearly the disapproving eye that is the only thing that might make it okay. And by that, I mean it's very clear that Barth thinks that everything that Jerry says is stupid, which is the only reason that we get away with this, because the character saying the awful, awful things is clearly shown to be a buffoon. And then we bring out Ed and Lucy Campbell, who appear at first to be a star-crossed couple that finally found love together, but their story just sounds more and more atrocious as we go. And the thing that makes it ugly for me is that it seems like Ed is repeatedly trying to kill this woman, at first over jealousy and then later over insurance money, because Lucy got a lot of insurance money from getting run over, and then everything seems like some kind of scheme to get her killed for more insurance money. I've watched enough of That Chapter, which is another YouTube channel, to say that getting life insurance often leads to bad things between couples who really don't care about each other as much as they think. It put a really sour flavor in my stomach to think that this could be a couple, that this woman just loves this man so much, and the evil truth of it is that he just continues trying to kill her. It certainly is surprising at the least, and we can only hope that these fictional characters get on with their lives and that maybe Lucy will figure something out or something. But, for the pure surprise of it, Lucy clearly is still in love with Ed. And that's all I've got to say about this episode. It certainly filled my belly with some gurglings, and I'm hoping that talking about the topic of the week might relieve that, but since we're talking about satires and dark comedies, I'm not sure that will be the case. However, this week I have elected to suggest some dark comedy feature films to check out, and today I am recommending Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up is an environmental satire featuring an all-star cast led by Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, who play scientists who discover that a giant civilization-ending meteor is on course to hit the planet Earth, and what they do to help people prepare for how to survive this, or maybe how to make things better for everyone, to maybe optimize the survival of civilization. And like all good satires, this is not really about the subject of the film. It's not really saying that we're going to be hit by a giant meteor, but about how when big inevitable things happen, our system is rigged against us. And I won't really tell you how to feel about this film, because I think before I tell you how I feel, you should know how you feel. So I recommend you check it out. Start a discussion, see how you feel about things, see what you think things might mean or how they reflect upon your lives. That's always more important to me than sharing my opinion. So, y'all, that's what I've got to say. Check out Don't Look Up. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Good Evening Fernwood. Thank you for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions in the comments. Thank you to my top tier Patreon supporters, because without you, my life could be crushed by a giant meteor. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.